Goodwin. Harding. Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for opening council remarks by Councilmember Ron Hug.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Mr. President, I'm going to forego my remarks so we can get the show on the road. Thank you. Since I'll take liberty quickly, I had last Friday a group of homeschooled children right here, and we had a nice half-hour discussion about city government after they met with the mayor. And I got to recognize them, and I know they're watching. It really was a joy to see young grade school age kids on their questions on what city government does. And at the end of it, one of them said, "I'm your boss." And I thought that was pretty cool. So, and they came up and they took pictures and they sat in our chairs, and I let them, my name's Joe Smith and I live in Papillion. So we went around the room. So it's really nice to see the engagement that the next generation of youth actually cares about city government. So I want to thank the homeschool kids for a great pleasure on Friday allowing me to do that. Madam Clerk.
An affidavit of publication is on file, and a current copy of the Open Meeting Act is posted in a white binder on the east wall of legislative chambers.
Good afternoon. Welcome to this meeting of the Omaha City Council. As a courtesy to those in attendance and to facilitate the conduct of our business, we ask that you please silence or turn off all electronic devices. A reminder that you will have 3 minutes to speak on an agenda item. We ask you to please stay on topic. For those not providing in-person testimony and would like your comments entered into the public record, you can email the city clerk's office at cityclerk@cityofomaha.org. Council members receive these emails and we read them. Finally, council members may ask members of the audience back up for clarifying questions, but not for extra time to speak. I would also like to remind council members to speak clearly into their microphones so audience members in attendance and at home can hear. And also, when you come up to the microphone, if you're speaking on an agenda item, we ask that you speak with those 2 microphones right in front of you for the same reason. Thank you.
Item 6, to consider a Class C liquor license for Nowhere Lounge located at 3502 Leavenworth Street. A's Communications in opposition.
Public hearing is now open on item number 6. The applicants, I'd like to call them down.
Mr. President, council members, my name is Michael Roberry, 16172 Spencer Street, Omaha, Nebraska, 68116.
Thank you. This was in my district, and we laid it over, for most of us recall, due to the issues with parking and some maybe agreements with surrounding businesses. Do you want to, I know you sent a letter in for council members and we read them.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you just want to reiterate what that letter said and how your conversation with Key Masters, the other business,
Absolutely.
went?
So,
and your name and address for the record.
I gave my name.
All right.
Now, we were last here, the big issue was with Key Masters and their parking. I just talked to Key Masters this morning, and came to an agreement that they're not going to rent us any spaces of their business. However, that we will be assisting and ensuring that their business is not affected by our patrons. We will have a towing service through Omaha Tow that will assist us ensuring that their business parking will not be taken. In addition to that, we also have 9 spots in the back of our bar that will be used for parking. In addition to those 9 spots, we have also talked about if you come in an Uber, that you'll have a discount on your bill. In addition to that, after 7 p.m., the street parking is open on the south side of that corner. So hopefully that will relieve a lot of that stress that we were talking about before, and addition to the Key Masters and us wanting to work together to ensure that they have no speed bump in their business.
Okay, again, I appreciate you doing that. Parking is always tight, especially on Leavenworth, but with the accommodation with the parking to the north side of your business there, you said it's 9 spots?
That's what we have rented out, yes.
Okay. Okay, I don't have any other comments. I don't know if council members had any comments, but I would support this today, considering that he did get that agreement for the parking, at least behind the building, that helps alleviate the problem. Got a motion and a second. No lights. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding.
Yes.
Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Item 7, to consider a Class C liquor license for Burlington Social located at 1002 South 10th Street.
Public hearing is now open on item number 7. Are there any proponents or the applicant?
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the council. My name is David Houghton, 2804 South 87th Avenue, here on behalf of Burlington Social LLC, doing business as Burlington Social for their Class C liquor license. This is an upgrade. The current location is under, the present licensee is Burlington League LLC, and that they have a Class I license, and this would be a Class C license. Many of you will know that this will be Burlington Social's 3rd location in the Omaha metro area. If you have any questions about how they intend to operate or other things about their business, we'd be happy to address those for you.
Thanks. Are there any proponents here on item number 7? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed. Got a motion and a second, and David, thanks. You don't have to get up, but I'll definitely be supportive of this today. That's a great addition down there in Little Italy, and I know Ms. Altmans and Mr. DiGiacomo have made quite an investment down in that corridor, so I'm glad to see that thriving down there, and I'll support this today. We had a motion and a second. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding. Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Item 8, to consider a Class C liquor license for Coven located at 3530 Leavenworth Street. A's communication opposition.
Public hearing is now open on item number 8. Mr. Houghton, good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. David Houghton, 2804 South 87th Avenue, here on behalf of the applicant, Furlco LLC. This is a new licensee on a prior location. Some of you will be aware that it was, prior to this, known as the Down Under Lounge. A new owner by the name of Noah Mock is coming in. He is, I think, available via video conferencing today. Mr. Mock is the owner and proprietor and license holder at Fizzy's, the Night Owl, and Masa Luna here in town. He's proven to be a responsible operator, and he wanted the council to know that the hours of operation, the business will be closed at 1 o'clock, and it's being built out so when they do have music, it'll be insulated to the outside, so you shouldn't be able to hear any music. Neighbors shouldn't be able to hear any music from the inside of the building, and when they do have live music, it's intended that'll stop at midnight. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to address them, but Mr. Mock is excited about this new business opportunity, and we think it'll continue to be a great location on the Leavenworth corridor.
Thanks. Are there any proponents here today for item number 8? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed. Noah, I had a quick question for you. Can you hear me okay? This is Councilman Begley. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I hear you just fine. I'm glad to see you and Katie continue to invest in establishments in my district, and I know Mr. Houghton represented your interests well on being cognizant of the noise, and if there's outdoor activities, that you certainly have a good relationship with established neighborhoods that you reside in with your businesses, and I know that you'll continue to do that with the Leavenworth Neighborhood Association. So I'll be glad to support this today and wish you guys the best of luck. And also, can we get your address, Noah, for the record?
Sure, 3530 Leavenworth Street and 68105.
Thank you. There's no further lights. Got a motion, and I'll second. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding. Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Item 9, to consider a Class C liquor license for Mockingbird Lanes located at 4870 South 96th Street.
Public hearing is now open on item number 9. Applicant, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, council members. My name is John Wing, W-I-N-G. I'm the owner of, my wife and I are owners of Mockingbird Lanes. ML Striking Entertainment is how we are changing the name of the entity. We are restructuring. We used to have 2 businesses and a single legal entity, and we are pulling Mockingbird Lanes out of that and creating a new legal entity which requires a new liquor license. The new legal entity is ML Striking Entertainment. We've been operating the bowling center since the year 2000. We've been a member of the community since that time, running a family entertainment center. Would like everybody to know that the ownership's not changing, the management's not changing, nothing is changing except for the legal name.
Okay, thank you. Are there any proponents here on item number 9? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed. Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding. Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Item 10, to consider a Class I liquor license for a Hyderabad House Biryani Place located at 2537 South 174th Plaza.
Public hearing is now open on item number 10. Before I call for proponents, is the applicant here today? Do we have time on this? We laid it over.
We do.
Thanks, Carmen.
Good afternoon. I am the owner of the Glamour Nail Omaha. I'm here for Class 1 liquor license for LHKI LLC and
Glamour Nail.
Glamour Nails.
We're on the
Yeah, we're on
Yeah, number 10.
number 10.
Item
We're on number 10.
Sorry, my fault.
That's okay.
Then I guess the other people might not be here then.
Do we need to lay that over then? Or we have to? On number 10. Yeah.
It will have to be laid over to the February 24th meeting.
Got a motion and a second to lay over till February 24th, correct?
Yes.
Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding. Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Item 11, to consider a Class I liquor license for Glamour Nail Omaha located at 2720 South 123rd Court.
Public hearing is now open for item number 11. Take 2.
My name is Khan. I'm here for Glamour Nail Lounge Omaha, located at 2720 South 123 Road Court. I'm here for Class 1 liquor license for LHK1 LLC. And this is for not sure.
You're okay. Can we also get your name and your address for the record?
My name is my home address or?
Yes.
My name is Khan. My home address is 6301 Cornflower Drive in Lincoln, Nebraska, 68504 is the zip code.
Okay, and if we have any questions, if you stayed nearby, we might ask you some questions from council members. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No,
Okay, sit tight and we'll get through, okay?
thank you.
Are there any proponents here on item number 11? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed. Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding.
Yes.
Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0. Item 12, to consider a Class IK liquor license for Nebraska Medicine Retail located at 505 South 45th Street.
Public hearing is now open on item number 12. I believe we have the applicant by Zoom. Ms. Mendel?
Yes, my name is Catherine Meidel.
Ms. Meidel, can you give us your address for the record, please?
My home address is 302 South 53rd Street.
Thank you. Are there any proponents here today on item number 12? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed. Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding.
Yes.
Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Item 13, a resolution to request the Nebraska Liquor Control Commission to require T&A Grocery located at 3247 North 42nd Street to submit a formal application, A's communication and support.
Public hearing is now open on item number 13. Is the applicant here today?
Mr. President, members of the council, David Houghton, here on behalf of T&A Grocery, Inc., doing business as T&A Grocery, located at 3247 North 42nd Street. My address is 2804 South 87th Ave.
Thank you. Are there any, go ahead, Ryan, sorry.
Ryan Wiesen, Deputy City Attorney. Mr. President, members of the council, the resolution that is on the agenda today is a resolution to request the license holder, T&A, to present a long-form application for the renewal of their liquor license. State statutes permit the automatic renewal of a liquor license unless there's reason to believe that the circumstances surrounding the issuance and operation of the license have changed from its initial instance. The hearing today is not a hearing on whether or not the license holder remains qualified to receive and operate a license. It is only a hearing to determine whether or not there is sufficient evidence before the City Council to investigate whether or not the license holder should continue to have a license and be issued in the future. Presented to the Council for its consideration today are 3 tavern reports. The first of which details an incident that occurred on September 4th, 2025, where officers were dispatched to the licensed premises for a large report of a large crowd that had occurred, and in addition to a shooting that occurred in the front parking lot of the establishment. Subsequently, on September 19th, 2025, officers were already at the hospital at Creighton University on Cummings Street, responding to an unrelated incident, when a short time later, 3 additional walk-in shooting victims arrived at the hospital emergency room. The investigation indicated that the shooting scene occurred in the parking lot of the licensed establishment. And then the very next day, officers were conducting a compliance check with the assistance of Project Extra Mile. A juvenile entered the licensed premises when was able to procure alcohol in violation of the Liquor Control Act. The question before the council today, again, is to consider whether or not the information contained within these tavern reports is sufficient to require T&A to submit a new formal application for the renewal of its license. If the council believes that there is sufficient evidence presented for it today to require this, the applicant would submit a new application that would be reviewed by the Liquor Control Commission, and then the application would be returned to the City Council for a full hearing to determine on whether or not the license holder remains qualified to hold a license under the Liquor Control Act and continue its operation as a licensed retail establishment. I can be available for any further questions if the council has any.
Thank you. Are there any proponents here for item number 13? Any proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents?
Sorry, I think I may have jumped the gun earlier. We're an opponent. My name is David Houghton, 2804 South 87th Avenue, here on behalf of the opponent to this resolution, TNA Grocery. With respect to the city law office, I just want to make one correction for the record. TNA Express is not the licensed location we're talking about today. So any evidence, we would object to any evidence or a record of anything becoming a part of the record related to TNA Express, since that's a separately owned and separately licensed location that has nothing to do with the resolution we're here today for. What I want to appeal to the council, and I'm grateful that I've been able to talk to most of you about this particular situation. But what I want to make clear to the council is that the reason we come to the city council is because the Liquor Commission takes seriously what you council members think and how you vote. I think there may be a misunderstanding that it goes to the next level at the commission and it doesn't matter what the city council does. And I don't think that could be further from the truth. While it's not case law I agree with, there's case law out there that says what the city council says may be enough to revoke a license. So I think with that said, I just want to make clear that the decision to long form is a serious one and one that could have grave consequences, I think, for the neighborhood and for my client. If you will, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit today about our view of the world, and that is that TNA Grocery is here over tavern reports because their building was shot. That's why we're here, meaning they were collateral damage when there was victims that were shot near their licensed premises. But there's nothing that TNA Grocery did to incentivize that violence or condone that violence in any way. In many respects, TNA Grocery is a victim of the violence. I think I would like to tell you who the applicant is, because this is a real person, a real family with a real business. And the extraordinary result that has been proposed today is to take this all away. So Tariq Ali, who's here to answer any questions you might have, moved to the Omaha area 11 years ago following getting an accounting degree at Brooklyn College in New York City, where he was born and raised. During college, he interned at PricewaterhouseCoopers with an accounting internship and worked at his family's bodega. After college, he decided he didn't want to practice as a CPA, didn't enjoy working in an office, and he found a convenience store in Elkhorn, Iowa that he had saved enough money to purchase. So for approximately a year, he lived in Elkhorn, Iowa, and operated this store. He had visited Omaha several times and thought that Omaha might be a nice place to raise a family and get into business. So about a year later, he moved to Omaha and identified the current licensee of TNA, or the TNA business where it is now. And with his savings and the sale from the Elkhorn store, had scraped together $200,000 to purchase this business. That was 11 years ago today. Soon after he purchased it and signed the contracts, I think it's important to point out that he realized that this would be an uphill challenge in operating this business. He saw bullet holes in the building, and that's an illustrative point because I think it matters that this has been a high crime and high violence area for a long, long time, and that hasn't changed. If anything, the crime and the violence in the neighborhood since he's owned it surrounding his building has gone down significantly over the last 11 years. That $200,000 initial outlay came with a land contract. Many of you know what that means. It's what he had to do at the time. If he misses a payment on that, he loses his interest in the building. This is a guy that's worked 90 plus hours a week for the better part of 10 years to operate a business he doesn't make a ton of money at. I think he's the sort of person that should be celebrated in our community. And I understand that the city council, and I applaud the efforts, I really, really do applaud the efforts of the city council members working to find a solution for violence in the area. But I think this particular action could have the opposite of the intended effect. Meaning, you know, there's research out there from the Harvard Business Review and the USC that says forced shuttering of these retail locations causes more crime and more violence in the area. This building going dark, which it will inevitably if you pull the liquor license, will make it so he cannot stay in business, and an empty, vacant building is not going to stop the crime in the area. Just a couple important facts about the business that I think are also important. Only about 17% of their revenue comes from alcohol sales. And this is a business that does a little bit over $1 million in revenue a year. I would like to offer, there's approximately 400 signatures from the neighborhood and community that are in support of the business and in opposition to this resolution. Also, I would like to show, before I forget, and I'll hand this to Eliza. Not sure. I don't know if you can see this.
Keep going. Keep turning.
Can you see that?
I think you're upside down. There you go.
Okay. So the center of this map is where TNA Grocery is located. And what we've done is put a straight line with distances to any grocery store that's close by. The closest one where you can get any staple items is also Tariq's store, TNA Convenience, which is about a mile away. In all other cases, the closest store would be 1.5 miles away. The folks at TNA estimate that 50 to 60% of their retail traffic is pedestrian traffic. And I want to point out, I just think that this is going to be a hardship on the community. Tariq asked people that feel strongly about it to come down and speak to you all today. It looks like there's quite a few people that decided to do that. And I'd ask that the council weigh what they think about is going on in their neighborhood as well. I'm happy to ask any questions, but I would like to point out again, from a legal standpoint, I don't think that the city council has met its hurdle, right? Which is that it's got to show that there is, that he is operating in a way that he wasn't last year, or the conditions of the neighborhood and in his store are different than they were last year. And clearly, that's not the case. Happy to answer any questions. I'm sure there will be some. But with that, if you have any questions also of Mr. Ali, he's happy to answer any that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other opponents here today on item number 13? Please come down.
Good afternoon. My name is Sheila Bradley. I reside on 45th and Bedford. I've been there for the last 10 years, give a plus. I've also had the pleasure of working with several different owners of that store, beginning with Bedford Market, then with J&J, which Max sold to Lauren. Lauren sold the store to Tariq. I'm grateful for the store, and I'll say that. Let me just kind of brace myself here. It's very, very, very hard to live in a highly crime-infested area. However, since that's part of my community, I stayed there. I love my neighbors. I love the business that's on 45th and Bedford. I dislike the one that was on 42nd and 45th. That's another story. If it hadn't been for the services of this store, I don't know how I would have made it. Nobody's extended credit to me at either Bedford Market or J&J. Nobody has trusted me that my check, when I tell them they can cash it, would be good so that I could feed the kids that I adopted. If it hadn't been for Montana and this young man here, Tariq, I wouldn't have made it. And it's also at a very, very, very bad time for me. I lost my maid of 51 years that serviced and worked with this same store here. Who was there for me? These people here. They were here for me and my family. Unconditionally, didn't charge me a dime, did all the right things. I would hate for that store to leave. I don't care if they sell liquor. I go for groceries. And that's what they helped me with. I've survived 3 aneurysms. Wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. If I didn't have enough money, I could call down there and send them a post-dated check. And I don't owe them a dime. Please don't close this store up. I've been there through
Ma'am,
terrible
I
times.
hate to cut you off, but thank you for your passionate 3
Thank you.
minutes. Thank you for being here today. Are there any other opponents here today?
Hello, my name is Pamela Lofton. I reside at 4327 North 38th Street, but I have remembered TNA as AKA Bedford Market. I have seen that when I was just a little girl, and I am older now, and I don't want to reveal my age. But it's over 40 years though. But I would miss that store. I would miss that owner. And most of all, I have a daughter that lives on 41st in Miami. I mean, 41st in Spencer's, I think. Yeah, that's what it is. And she lives right behind that store. So anything that happens at that store, it happens in all that whole area. If there's a shooting, it's shooting everywhere, not just there at that store. So that's very, should be considered too. Not just the store, it's all over. And I think with a little more protection, or maybe if the police can go through there a little bit more, it won't be so bad. But that's all I had to say. It just means a lot. It's history. It means a lot to all folks, and all folks alike. So I just want you to consider that too. It is a store in the neighborhood, and it's the only store. And I hate to see them have to catch the bus or have to walk so far to a grocery store. So please consider that. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other opponents here today on item number 13?
My name is Aline David. My address 3536 North 40th Avenue, and I have lived in the area near TNA Groceries for over 10 years. During that time, TNA Groceries has become our neighborhood store and a place my family and I relied on for many everyday necessities. Having this store in our community has truly been a blessing. I want to respectfully state that I do not believe the store or its owners are responsible for the actions of individuals who purchase alcohol and then choose to drink outside of the store's property. From my understanding, once customers complete their purchase and leave the store, such as standing nearby on the sidewalks or the street corners, their actions are no longer under the store's control. Sidewalks are public property, and incidents that occur there should be considered public or city matters, not the responsibility of the business. I feel strongly that it would be unfair for TNA Groceries to risk losing its liquor license because of the poor decisions of a few individuals who do not respect the store or its values. The owners have always operated their business responsibly and have been a positive presence in this neighborhood. I believe a more effective solution would be for the city to become more involved, possibly by conducting regular patrols in the area to help address issues on public property. This would support both the community's safety and the local businesses that serve it. Thank you for allowing me to share my perspective.
Thank you. Are there any other opponents here today?
Hi there. My name is Mark Sutherland. I come here from the land of the midnight sun. Now, Tariq and his establishment, they've been wonderful. They've been incredible. Could even say sometimes mediocre. But the thing about it is, they're good people. They pay for their employees' funerals. They gave me a job like snow plowing for the last 2 or 3 years. I haven't made $100. So I don't know what's going on with the state, but the best thing for that store is they help everybody. When I didn't have enough cash to do this or do that, they never gave it to me, but I certainly worked for it. They're good people, and I would hate for that store to close, because without that store, a lot of us wouldn't be here today because of them. Thank you.
Hey, sir, before you leave, can you please give us your name and your address for the record?
Yes, it's Mark Sutherland, and I'm at 1449 Spencer Street.
Thanks, Mr. Sutherland.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other opponents here today?
Hello, my name is Chucky Brizendine, and my parents, they moved up the street from when it was Bedford Market in 1971. And that particular area has always been somewhat problematic. What's going on right now has nothing to do with the place, the business itself. It's the people that surround it. And to give you a little history, my youngest sister, she was in Bedford Market in 1974. The store was robbed. One of the employees there was shot in the mouth and a bullet lodged in her dentures. That has nothing to do with what's going on right now. Later on, in 1976, the Lay's potato chip man, he was shot and robbed and had his truck taken. That has nothing to do with what's going on now. Even Larry Station, when he took the store over, a football player from the University of Iowa, All-American, they come in the store, they thought they wanted to rob him with a knife. Larry was stabbed, he held the guy down till the police got there, which has nothing to do with what's going on now. A good friend of mine, Nebraska Morrow, he had a business called M&G Enterprise on 40th and Bedford. As he was sitting down in his chair, somebody decided they wanted to come in the store, shot him and killed him. And he was one of the most respected businessmen in North Omaha. That wasn't a TNA, that was at a different location. The place itself, I believe that it needs more police contact. Because if a person who's in business and he goes out of business because of that, that means they win. The place has a history of having problems, and it probably has less problems now than it did back then. And that's the only thing that I can say, and that's what I see, and hopefully the best thing happens.
Sir, sorry, can we get your address for the record, please?
Chucky Brizendine. I grew up at 4318 Bedford, Omaha, Nebraska, and I right now live at 5034 North 36th Street.
Thank you. Other opponents here today?
Hi, my name is Patricia Gunn. I reside at 3348 North 40th Street. I grew up in the neighborhood on 42nd and Evans Street. From the time I was 8 years old, there's been people standing outside of Bedford Market. Time hasn't changed with that store. The people who gather around there has formed a brotherhood. They come together for the community, which TNA supports. They just did a trick-or-trunk last year rather, in October, and the store provided half of the candy. The store itself has nothing to do with the crime that's being taking place there. The people that's there, they stand there and form a brotherhood in order to support the children of our community. They do barbecues for the kids, back to school bashes. They give out bikes, TNA do to the children. There is no controlling people riding down the street shooting at the people who are here to help our community. So I ask that you have grace on Tariq and his business and keep him open.
Thank you.
Luis Jimenez, 2709 Duke Avenue. I think that there's been confusion going on, that you guys are not denying, that the process is not denying a liquor license for the establishment, is that they're doing a long form and you can approve it or not today. Just because you have this proceeding doesn't mean that you're opposing it. So I think that a lot of people have comments about supporting the establishment. That should have happened during the period when you called for proponents, because you can say yes to the liquor license, the long form, send it to the Liquor Control Commission, and then they can keep their license. Why I'm opposing it is because the managers of the establishment have not taken the opportunity to ban people from going into their establishment. So responsible, if there's a lot of violence going on, the responsible thing for the establishment to do is to send notice to those individuals that are causing trouble and say you're not welcome and you're not allowed into the establishment. And the city of Omaha has a process for that. And obviously they haven't taken advantage of that. And that's a disservice to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Other opponents?
Larry Storr, 5015 Lafayette Avenue, Omaha 68132. I'm opposed to this because we're not treating people in Omaha equally. We have a same situation, maybe even worse, on the Northwest Rodeo Highway at Hamilton Street, and it's called Mega Saver. I see it every day, but nobody does anything about that. And there's two police cars that are across the street at the other food store, the Quick Trip. But nobody does anything about the situation at that Mega Saver that I believe is in Miss Goodwin's territory, possibly on the edge of Mr. Festerson's. It is terrible, and it is dangerous to the public safety. Some of these people hide out in the weeds just across the street and build fires. They walk around and
Larry,
break in the
you got to
windows.
stay on topic.
I'm sorry, sir.
Larry, please.
You know, you're not treating
Larry,
me equal like
I'm
everybody
asking
else.
you to
I am
stay
not
on
off topic.
You're off topic.
They are
Please
off topic
cut
worse
the
than
mic.
I am, sir.
You are removed,
You
Larry.
need to be impeached.
You're removed. I'm trying to be respectful of your time. You are off topic, and I am removing you from the meeting because you're off topic of 3247 North 42nd Street. If you could have stayed on that topic, you could have talked for 3 minutes. Thank you. Any other opponents here today on item number 13?
Robert Perkins, 5612 Florence Boulevard. Forgive me, I'm a little nervous. I'm not a public speaker. I've dealt with Tariq and his family for the last 4 years. I'm employed as I sell groceries and tobacco to a lot of the North Omaha gas stations and C-stores up there. I think that they do a wonderful job with their management. I would like to point out that I've spent many hours in this store specifically. Montana is the manager who's there most of the time. We're frequently interrupted with him going out to try to push away the crowds that may build up during the day. So they're and calling non-emergency numbers and stuff like that. They're trying their hardest to keep away the riffraff and have a very nice and organized and clean store. Also, he mentioned that only 17% of their sales actually come from alcohol, which may be true, but also a lot of them having their license brings in a lot of the other business, or because they're kind of a one-stop shop. And they also post pictures on their doors that say abandoned bars for people that are causing issues. So that's all I have to say.
Thanks. And
Thank
you did just fine. I couldn't tell you were nervous. You did great.
My shaky voice.
No, you did just fine. Thanks for being here today. Are there any other opponents here? Who wants to raise their hands? Who's going to speak in opposition that's left?
Hey everyone, my name is Ibrahim Montana Al-Mansoub. My address is 1015 South 42nd Street. My dad, Montana, worked for Tariq for the last 10 years in this store. And every time I go there to see him, I feel everyone at the shop treat him like family. And every time I go there and there's like an older guy who, like most people in that area, they don't have cars. They just walk to the store. And most of them are old, so they can't even walk back to their places. And the first thing my dad would say, drive this lady back to her house, or drive this guy back to his house. I mean, I've been to a lot of stores. I went to school in New York, and I never been in any store where the owner be like, tell his son, I don't even work there, take this customer, drive them back, because they don't.
Go to the mic. There you go.
And drive them back to their houses because they don't have a car. I mean, I don't know. Taking the liquor license, basically, me and Tariq would have to shut the shop. My dad will lose his job, and many families in the area will have no access to food. Basically, you're creating a food desert. And I mean, I don't know. I can still understand it make no sense that there's a gang violence or like there's a shooting outside, and your solution for that, all right, we got to take the liquor license away from this guy. I mean, can any one of you just explain to me how? I mean, I don't know, I guess, how that make any sense? If there's a shooting outside the shop, he's responsible for it, and you got to take away his liquor license. And most of these shooters, basically, not even his customers, because they come drive away with cars. I mean, we all know that area is high crimes, and they drive with a car, shoot someone there. That affect his business, and affect everyone in there. And you come and be like, oh, you got to take the liquor license. I mean, can anyone just explain to me how does that make any sense? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. If there's a shooting outside the shop, then, oh, all right, we have to take his liquor license. Even though the shooters, they're not even his customers. I know the other guy was talking about, oh, they didn't kick them out. I mean, if the police doesn't even know who the shooter is, how would Tariq know who the shooter is? I mean, I don't know. If anyone could give me an answer, I'll really appreciate it.
Do you have any other comments?
No, thank you, that's all.
Thanks for being here today. Are there any other opponents here today for item number 13? The public hearing is closed, and I will recognize Councilmember Goodwin.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I truly appreciate the members of the community who came out to express their concerns. And I just want to give context to how we got here as a member of the Law Committee. So as you know, I am a newly elected member to the City Council, and this first came upon our radar, the 42nd and Bedford Avenue T&A Groceries in September after 3 individuals were shot over consecutive days at the T&A properties. Interesting enough, an article at KTV, September 24th, says there have been 2 shootings incidents in the area of 42nd and Bedford Avenue in Omaha in September. And I quote OPD in saying there was an uptick in crime in the area despite the improved crime rates in recent years. And it's one of crime hotspots. And it's always been a hotspot, actually, this lieutenant says, in his 2 decades of law enforcement. And he said identifying hotspots has helped reduce the overall crime rate over the years. So that was in September of 2025, where I believe there had been a total of 27 incidents at that location. By the time we, on the Law Committee, brought Mr. Tariq in to discuss these incidents, that number had changed to 58, which included 9 assaults, 3 shots fired, 17 disturbances. I do want to be clear that all of us in community are responsible to prevent crime. whether it's individually, communally, and acting responsibly. And so as a property owner, property owners are responsible for managing their facilities and the surrounding property. The law committee did not take lightly that we had a responsibility to simply bring this under review. I want to be very clear that it is not the intent to simply close a grocery store and cut off access to a community. However, we would be remiss not to look at the incidents. And since we called in Mr. Tariq December 9th, there have been additional 7 tavern reports. And so the situation's not getting better, but it's actually escalating. Because this was not what I would have called an official public hearing, although I know that people had the opportunity to present today and that there is actually a process at the Liquor Commission. I did not ask people to be here present in support, but we did receive letters of support. And I also believe that with the right preparation, we could produce just as much support for the action that I'm recommending today. But I do want to read a few letters that I received, and the rest of the council did as well. And this is from Jonathan Chapman, and he's a pastor in the area, and he says, "Dear members of the council, I write to respectfully recommend that TNA Groceries be required to reapply for its liquor license." And I want to emphasize that. That is simply what we are asking today. This action does not automatically shut this location down, nor is it what our intent is. Following the volume of incidents that have occurred outside of its establishment over the last year, this recommendation is made not as a punitive measure, but as a constructive step to ensure that the business remains aligned and that the broader progress of our community has experienced in reducing crime and strengthening the neighborhood stability. Across our community, we have seen encouraging trends indicating that crime is declining and that coordinated efforts among residents, businesses, and public safety partners are making a positive impact. In that context, it is especially important that all licensed establishments, particularly those operating with liquor licenses, demonstrate practices that support and reinforce this progress. When repeated incidents occur in the immediate vicinity of a business, it can create concern among residents and undermine the sense of safety that many have worked diligently to build. Requiring TNA Groceries to reapply for its liquor license would provide an appropriate opportunity for review, dialogue, and alignment. The process would allow the business to present updated operational plans, security measures, and community engagement strategies that reflect current expectations and the shared goal of maintaining a safe and welcoming environment. It would also give the City Council and relevant departments a structured setting to ensure that all necessary safeguards are in place moving forward. Importantly, this recommendation is rooted in the belief that local businesses play a vital role in neighborhood vitality and economic development. With the right supports and accountability measures, TNA Groceries can continue to serve the community in a manner that complements ongoing improvements in public safety and quality of life. A reapplication process would affirm the city's commitment to partnership, transparency, and consistent standards across all establishments. And this was submitted by, again, Pastor Chapman, who helps to oversee the 360 measures for the Empowerment Network. And I wanted to read one last testimony in support of this is simple resolution to bring this store under review. This is from, let me get my notes correct. One moment, please. Okay. This is from Bishop Chambers. Dear honorable members of the Omaha City Council, as a faith leader serving the people of Omaha, I write wholly in support of Resolution 2026-0074, which calls for TNA to reapply for their liquor license. My commitment as a pastor, community advocate, and partner in the work of building a safer and more flourishing city is to the well-being of neighborhoods and the dignity of the families who call Omaha home. When concerns arise about an establishment's operation or its impact on the surrounding community, it is both prudent and necessary for the city of Omaha to pause, reassess, and ensure that the standards of public safety and responsible business practices are being upheld. Requiring TNA to reapply for their liquor license, which we're simply recommending, is not an act of hostility, but rather an act of stewardship. Our city thrives when businesses and neighborhoods coexist in ways that promote safety, respect, and mutual benefit. This resolution affirms that liquor licensure is a privilege that carries real responsibility, and the City Council is committed to protecting the well-being of all who live, work, worship, and invest in Omaha. For these reasons, I respectfully urge the council to adopt this resolution. Thank you for your leadership and your continued support to our city. And so again, the law committee has not taken this recommendation lightly, but it is in light of 58 plus incidents, 7 of which have happened within the last month. Furthermore, I'd also like to point to the public testimony of every person who came forward, talked about the very things that we had to assess on the law committee, and that's the violence. Talk about the responsibility of the city. This is our responsibility to take an issue of this magnitude under review. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan, did you have some comments to make? I should have recognized you before, so thanks for your patience. And I'll get to council members after Ryan.
Ryan Wiesen, Deputy City Attorney. I just wanted to clarify a couple of things for the record and clear up any confusion. With respect to the tavern reports, the first tavern report, you can see the incident occurred at the premises address at 3247 North 42nd Street. That was the first shooting incident. The second tavern report, the second shooting incident, the premises address was 3247 North 42nd Street. The third tavern report, and I apologize to the council for this confusion, the sale to a minor occurred, if I can get it to focus. The address was 5825 North 30th Street, and that was TNA Express. We did pull the license holder records that we do have for all the TNA locations. You can see this is TNA Grocery with an address of 3247 North 42nd Street. The remaining TNA LLCs or corporate entities, TNA Express and TNA Conveniences, also have mailing addresses of 3247 North 42nd Street. It's our understanding that although it may have been different corporate entities, it is the same owner-operator in essence. And so if that caused any confusion to the council or to the applicant, I do apologize to both. I also wanted to clarify just a statement that Ms. Goodwin made, and that is that since the applicant was brought before the City Council Law Committee, it wasn't 7 additional tavern reports had been generated, but 7 calls for service located to that address of 3247 North 42nd Street. And those incidents range from thefts to disturbances to shots fired as well. And so I just wanted to make those clarifications for the record. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Councilmember Harding, you're recognized.
Ryan, if you would say that. And actually, those were two of my questions, actually. So thank you for clarifying that. So I was, and sometimes when I previously served on the law committee, I was always told that sometimes, a tavern report is not necessarily a bad thing, especially if the operator is reporting what's happened and shows that proper protocol or procedures were followed. So, and I understand the TNA Express is a different location. So, were you bringing that back up for clarification as to why that should not have been, if you will, offered for evidence for this
I
particular
should
matter?
have made that clarification at the beginning, and I did not want to provide inaccurate or wrong information to the council, so I wanted to clear up the record on that.
Appreciate you did that because that was one of my questions. So, do me a favor, walk me through the process again, exactly. After whatever we do here today, if it is to recommend the long form, take it up from there. How it goes to the Liquor Commission and how that's handled at that point.
If the council recommends the long form today, or passes this resolution requesting that, the license, nothing happens to the license. The license continues to operate. The only thing that it prevents it from doing is automatically renewing for the next license period. What should happen is the Liquor Control Commission should receive the resolution from the council and should require the license holder to submit a new application to obtain its current retail liquor license. Then that goes through the same process that any other license holder that's a new applicant would go through. It goes to the State Patrol, it gets reviewed by the Liquor Control Commission. It then gets returned to the City Council for consideration on whether or not the license should be recommended for approval or denial. I believe we have an additional step then, and that would trigger the full kind of procedural due process hearing at that point in time that we've gone through for other license holders, where there's an opportunity for cross-examination of witnesses. The city council members can ask questions of witnesses, and evidence is presented before the city council. And again, it would still be a recommending body at that point in time, whether or not the council would then recommend approval of the license if it was satisfied that the license holder was doing things correctly or was able to adhere to the rules and regulations of the Liquor Control Commission, or a recommendation of denial if the council was satisfied by the evidence that it showed that over the past year or two that there had been a change in conditions and a change in the operating conditions of the license holder, and that the license holder was no longer able to operate pursuant to the rules and regulations of the Liquor Control Commission or the Nebraska Liquor Control Act. But the action today would not terminate or revoke or cancel the license in any respect.
Okay, so when it would come back to the council, that's where we would have a process that is somewhat different than the normal procedure for that, where you said basically it's kind of a mini trial, if you will.
That's correct. Our municipal code adds an additional layer of due process that's not required by statute. We've gone through it a couple of times before with Rain Ultra Lounge, Throwback Arcade Lounge, and Crush, where it adds that additional kind of due process requirement in trial, essentially mini trial.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Houghton, if you will. Appreciate you giving us a little bit of background on Tariq. And could you, are there any suggestions as to alternative options that might be available or that you would suggest?
My
for your
client would be, yeah, my client would be happy to discuss anything on the table. I would like this, we didn't present this, there's a lot of material to get through, but I do want the council members to know and understand that Mr. Ali has worked with Officer Green and the crime prevention specialist in the area in all of his locations. They have state-of-the-art cameras, signage. They do, in fact, ban and bar people. They ban and barred someone the other day. They have a closed property. They've had to work with the tenant upstairs to get a closed property at night. I think it's fair to say that they've done everything within their power to work with the Omaha Police Department. I would also like to point out, because it's been a topic of some discussion, it is also what we recommend as attorneys, that tavern reports shouldn't be bad things. What we want from the community members, in particular the businesses, is businesses that don't feel afraid to call the Omaha Police Department. I don't think, to me, it's unwise to create a culture where a business owner or a community member has pause to call the police because their license may be at stake or some other business privilege they have may be at stake if they do. There's been a couple other things discussed today, and these long form situations are very niche, right? But what I think it's very niche,
Okay.
right? Like
Yep.
what I think the council and what I want the community members to understand about this is by voting today to authorize a long form, the long form is essentially a statutory scheme to circumvent a constitutionally protected right of renewal. That's what the court says, right? The court also says if the city council, in their wisdom, chooses to make them long form, they have to take it. By long forming a license holder, you are signaling to the commission that you want their license scrutinized. And they care what you think. Like I said earlier, there's also case law out there that says what the city council thinks may be enough, right, alone. Meaning a court or the commission could say, the only evidence we have is that the city council wants a long form, and that's reason enough to cancel or revoke a license. I think in practice, too, what you have to understand here is what you're doing today is asking your city attorney's office to go represent the city and oppose a license from being issued. Today, a vote for a long form is an affirmative action that is against the right of renewal by my client.
And you said something near the end there that I was going to ask Mr. Wiesen about that, but I'll ask you. So the city attorney would then go down to represent the city.
Presumably.
Is that Ryan? Maybe I'll have Ryan answer that, but stay close, please, Dave.
Sure.
Ryan? Would you then go down and testify to the Liquor Commission?
Ryan
Or
Wiesen.
is that, would it typically be just like a standard application where you're not going down there?
Ryan Wiesen, Deputy City Attorney. In my past experience, the commission has never required the city to come down for the transmission or receipt by the commission of the long form resolution. Okay. It's generally, in my experience, required that renewal application as a matter of course when it receives a resolution requesting a long form by the city council. When I would go back down to the Liquor Control Commission is if after that new application was received and considered by the council, if the council then recommended denial of the license, I would then go down to the Liquor Control Commission like it would any other denial and argue for the denial in Lincoln.
Right. Okay. How many? Stay there if you will. How many tavern reports have there been at this location in the last 12 months?
My understanding, and perhaps the city clerk can verify real quick, is 2.
2?
That's my understanding.
Could you bring those? I think you showed us those 2. Is there anything in either of those 2 that could be deemed the responsibility of the owner? And did the owner take the appropriate action? Who filed the tavern report, I guess? Did the owner take the appropriate actions for each of these incidences?
The tavern reports are generated by the Omaha Police Department.
Right, but yeah.
So they're not filed in essence by.
But did the owner cooperate and handle these in a proper manner with the Omaha Police?
I don't know that there is an indication in the tavern reports to make a representation on that one way or another. The tavern reports both involve shooting incidents.
Was it? I'm sorry to interrupt, but outside the establishment, but on the property of.
That is my understanding. The Liquor Control Act requires, and the regulations require, that the license holder maintain control and prevent disturbances in the licensed premises, and it says related adjacent outdoor areas. It's my understanding that these incidents occurred in related adjacent outdoor areas like the parking lot.
Okay, but on the property. And if the owner were aware of that, they probably should have filed, or they probably should have called the police, I would assume, correct?
I would suggest that would be an appropriate course of action. I don't think
Do you
that
know if they did that in either one of these cases?
I don't know. Both tavern reports indicate that the shootings did occur in the parking lot, but there's no indication in the tavern report that who contacted law enforcement initially. I know that on the the September 19th incident, law enforcement was first made aware of it when 3 walk-in shooting victims walked into the Creighton emergency room.
Okay. Thanks. Mr. Houghton? I'll ask you to address the tavern reports if you have it, or maybe if your client would care to address those too. But
This is Mr. Ali. State your name.
Mr. Ali, you'll have to give your name and address for the record too, please.
Hi, Tariq Ali, 5432 B Street, Omaha. Regarding these 2 tavern reports, usually when there's a shooting, the police will come right away because they have the shot stoppers right in the neighborhood. And by the time we call, they're usually outside already.
Okay. Were you aware when these 2 shootings happened, these 2 incidences, I guess I'll say, how were you made aware of those? And what action did you take?
I was there when it happened. And like I said, by the time we called the police, the police were there already. They showed up right away. And after that, there's really nothing we could do besides just let the police access our cameras and get as much information for what happened as much as possible.
Do you have any security? What kind of security measures do you have at your location, at this location?
Right. After we met with the Omaha Police Department, they encouraged us to upgrade our cameras, which we did. Upgrade all the cameras, added more cameras outside. Also, they encouraged us to put more lighting outside, which we did, and more trespassing signs out on the property, which we have done.
Were those recommendations from the police department, or was that a result of your meeting with the law committee?
Police department.
With the police department. Okay. And when were those measures taken?
When we met them was in November, I believe.
November?
Yes.
Okay. Do you take similar actions at your other locations? Security measures?
I mean, we have the same. We have same cameras, same everything. We don't have as much problems over there as in this location.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I appreciate it. That's all I have right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Melton, you're recognized.
Thank you. And I think I just wanted to be clear too, because it was confusing. Requesting the long form just requires them to reapply. They get to keep their license. Then when they come back to council, another hearing will be held in regards to the license, where the city and the retailer will be able to present what they've done. This is a little premature. I understand that. They don't want to go through the long form process. But, and I have to say right now, sitting here right now, I can't tell you how after I hear your side and the city side, whether or not I may vote to support the liquor license. I am not prematurely making any kind of decision. I think what the long form does is it's just making the liquor license holder maybe look at what they're doing, and it'll maybe encourage them to do more. Now, in this particular case, since the tavern reports, Mr. Ali has actually taken significant steps, which is what the law committee actually has asked other retailers to do. I haven't received enough necessarily information on the fact that there were 7 calls. I just noted really quickly on those calls that one was made by Mr. Ali, one was made by Montana, who I understand is the manager, and it was only up there for like 2 seconds, so I couldn't tell what else. So if you're making the calls, I can tell you I will not count that as some kind of number against you. And I've been on the law committee for going on 13 years now. And actually, that was something when I started on the law committee, businesses were like terrified to call the police. I mean, everything was about the number of tavern reports. And it was one of the things that we changed because we wanted businesses to call. So we kept trying to, it took years, I think. I don't know, Mr. Houghton, if you recall, it took years to kind of change that mindset for liquor license holders that a tavern report wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I still think people think that, but they're not, because we want the retailers to cooperate and collaborate with Omaha Police, and we want them to call Omaha Police before before the incidents escalate. So if you start seeing the people gather, we want you to call. And I will not hold number of calls against any retail holder. I've made that commitment, and I've always held through. Part of the law committee, we voted unanimously because Councilwoman Goodwin is trying to make a lot of progress. I think has made some, is attempting to make a lot more. And I take her recommendation and her request extremely seriously. She knows her district better than I know her district. And I trust her to make decisions that are in the best interest of her district and a lot of her constituents. She's in a very difficult position right now because I think she has constituents that want the long form, constituents clearly that don't want the long form. I can tell you, I know that she cares about every single person in her district and is trying to do what's best for everyone. It's not personal against the retailer. Historically, this, I think of what Ms. Goodwin told me and what I've even seen myself, is this location has historically been problematic and somewhat crime-ridden. That's what people told me. I mean, back in the 70s, there were shootings. There were again in the 80s. So this isn't about Mr. Ali. He's not creating the problems. And in fact, I think he's taking measures to help the police and help correct the measures. I would agree with a number of the opponents who stated things could get worse, that there may be some unintended consequences of trying to help by maybe removing this liquor license, and those unintended consequences is having an empty building, which I think would attract more crime, because you won't have a business owner that's there trying to help Omaha Police and the community. So I have to say, I want to say I'm extremely torn on which way to go with this. I'm going to support Councilwoman Goodwin's request for a long form. That doesn't necessarily mean, though, that you're necessarily going to have my vote to remove the liquor license in the end. And I'm going to remain fair. I will listen closely to the evidence that's presented when it comes back, because I do think we've heard a lot of testimony here that we have to weigh the good that this retailer is doing versus maybe the crime that's happening at the location. Is this going to be more beneficial to the community to remove his liquor license, or is it going to actually create more hardship on the community? With the people that testified today, I don't think in my 13 years I've ever had this many people come down in front of council, not only in support of a liquor license holder, but to give the amount of stories and help that this liquor license holder has provided to his neighbors and community. I take that to heart. I take that to heart in the character of this license holder, to where problem bars that we've had before that we've had to do the long form, there weren't people coming down testifying to the owner's character. They were bars that had problems, and quite frankly, the owners weren't doing anything to prevent it. In fact, I think they were almost encouraging it in previous cases. This is a lot more unique. This is a very unique situation. So, Councilwoman Goodwin, you probably have the same struggles I do with this situation and just trying to make it better. So I will support the long form, but I have to take note of everything that I think Mr. Ali has done, and I'm going to think long and hard. I don't necessarily know that I want his liquor license to be removed. So.
Thank you. Councilmember Goodwin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate your words, Amy. The one thing I will say is that representing a district where violence happens often, many times resulting in death. I take that very seriously. And I sit here feeling the weight of that and looking at the tools that the law or our city processes give us to simply evaluate. Some of the numbers that were presented, we did receive 58 incidents, not all being tavern reports, at the law committee. They were clearly presented because of 9 assaults, 3 shots fired, 1 shots fired since we've met with Mr. Tariq, 17 disturbances. And so we were looking at that information when we made this recommendation. It was said in our law committee meeting that we know, and I believe it was Mr. Houghton who said, we know violence will happen in these communities. And I quite frankly do not accept that. And I don't think any of us would simply accept living in an area with 58 incidents. And right, but do you have to? And that's what I'm sitting here for, is to take seriously the decisions I make and the decisions that I represent this district. And I dare say, with the proper notice, we can get the support, not to simply close a grocery store down. That is not the intent. But along with every heartfelt story and every heartfelt testimony that was presented today, no one denied what we're considering here. And that's what I'm looking at. That's what the law committee is looking at. That's what tavern reports are about. That's what the process is about. And yes, we want store owners and liquor license holders to cooperate with police. And we are not simply demonizing the process, but I think we're analyzing the process and not seriously looking at the activity, which is lives lost, not to mention the trauma of living in a community where there are shots fired regularly. And I don't know about anybody else, but I do. But I chose to live back in my community. And that alone is a hardship that may never ever cross into a police incident or a tavern report. And so we appreciate the cooperation. We need to see more, but I am now asking to motion for this resolution to begin the process of review, to continue the process of accountability. People often say, they almost consider like violence in North Omaha as it's just gonna happen. And I just want this council and this community to know, I don't accept that. This is my small part. There are other things that need to happen here. But this is the step I'm asking this council to take. It does not simply mean it's going to close the store. It does not immediately revoke the license. Let's let the tools in the toolbox play out. And I'm asking Mr. Houghton, Mr. Tariq, for your cooperation in this process. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just a
May I
couple
leave to
quick.
respond?
Oh, please.
My apologies, I'll be brief. Ms. Goodwin, I just want to point out, and council members, that you will not find a more cooperative business constituent than Mr. Ali to work with you on this problem. We talked about this at length throughout preparing for this hearing. Mr. Ali agrees. Like, his business and his constitutionally protected right at a renewal is not worth anyone being hurt. But but basically what's being proffered today and what you're voting for through this long form is you're voting that this grocery store is the cause of the violence. and it's simply not the cause of the violence. And what I worry about based on, and I invite all of you during this process, if you do vote for long form, is to do the research. Look at the studies that look at shuttered businesses. There's a famous one that was done by University of Southern California dealing with medical marijuana dispensaries, and they were crime magnets, or so said the city. And when they were shut down, crime increased, not just property crime, but violent crime as well. Forcing a business to go dark isn't going to stop the gunshots, in our view. We would like nothing more, and my client would like nothing more, to be in a safe environment. He will work with any council member that
David,
will help him
can I
accomplish
interrupt
that.
you? I'm sorry.
Yep.
Does someone have a radio on in the crowd? Can you please silence that for us? Thank you. I'm sorry, David. Please continue.
Oh, and that's okay. And I'll just end with this. The decision to long form, as I said, what the courts say is that my client has a constitutionally protected right of renewal. By voting to long form, you are signaling to the Liquor Commission, who takes very seriously what you say, that there shouldn't be a renewal, that there should be some heightened level of scrutiny. That's why we're here today, and that's why what you decide today matters. It's not only something that costs my client more money, it's enough based on case law to not renew a license. So there has been a lot of talk today that it doesn't matter that we're kicking the can to the Liquor Commission, but this is something that your decision today is something that the Liquor Commission takes very, very seriously. Thank you.
Thanks. Just a couple of comments. I really do appreciate everybody that took the time to come down here today. Most of it was in opposition, and your opinions are valued. And there was a gentleman that I had removed from the chambers, and just so you know, people of goodwill that come down and maybe have never been here, I try to give the most grace I can for anyone to speak on any item, whatever it is. And this one in particular was the 3247 North 42nd establishment here for TNA Grocery. When somebody gets off topic, it's my job to try to control the meeting as fair as I can. And if that person, if he or she gets off topic, I don't want to be combative, but I'll have them removed, and that's what happened here. So I thank you again for your grace and your spirit and your words on behalf of the owner here today, because we can disagree. We do this all the time in this body. But I like to think that 7 of us do it civilly and respectfully, and the people that came here today showed that same as well. So I wanted to thank you on behalf of the council for that. I will second. And we got further lights. Councilmember Melton, you're recognized.
Thank you. And I guess I'm still somewhat confused, because it sounds like what Mr. Houghton is saying and what Mr. Weeson's saying are two different things. So, Mr. Weeson, if I could call you back up.
Ryan Weeson, Deputy City Attorney.
Okay. If we vote to do the long form, is there some chance that because we vote on this, it goes to the Liquor Commission and they just deny the license before it comes back to the City Council? Because that's what I heard Mr. Houghton saying, but what I heard you saying was that if we do this, it just forces them to reapply, and then it'll come back to the council as though it's, one of the first 12 applications that we had today.
Ryan Weeson,
Which one is it? Because that makes a big difference to me. If Mr. Ali is not going to be able to have his opportunity to come back in front of us, and we're just sending it to the Liquor Commission to make the decision whether he gets to keep it or not, actually changes how I would vote today.
Ryan Weeson, Deputy City Attorney. The relevant statute that I look towards is Nebraska Revised Statute 53-135, and it talks about retail licenses and conditions for automatic renewal and a process for certain things. And the statute, or the sentence that I look at, is the commission may at any time require a licensee to submit an application, and the commission shall at any time require a licensee to submit an application if requested in writing to do so by the local governing body. So because the statutory language is requires licensee to submit an application. In my experience, what has generally happened is that application has been submitted and gone through the normal review process. I'm not aware, and I'm not omniscient.
Well, let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
You just said normal review process. So I thought the normal review process was it comes to us first and then the Liquor Commission. But I think what Mr. Houghton was saying is it'll go to the Liquor Commission first before it comes back to us.
Well, and the normal review process is applications are submitted to the Liquor Control Commission,
Right.
and they do, I think, their initial groundwork then. Then it's sent to the city or the local governing body, whether it's the Omaha City Council or any other local governing body, for a recommendation before it is sent back to the commission for
Well,
a determination.
So
on whether
here,
license
but
should
here's
be
my concern. And yesterday I testified in front of the legislature and talked to the Liquor Commission, asking them to take our opinions a lot more seriously than they have done in the past. Okay, so I just did that yesterday afternoon. So now Mr. Houghton's, I guess, concerned. By the way, Mr. Houghton, they never have cared what our recommendation was before. I'm hoping with the new Liquor Commission, they actually are going to consider our recommendations. So if we ask for the long form, are we sending a signal, or are we actually providing a recommendation that they deny the application in its initial application? If they have to go apply tomorrow, I mean, if the Liquor Commission sees, oh, this may be a new application, but it was required by the city council, are they going to say, oh, well, I think the city council wants this denied, and so they're just going to deny it and it never comes back to us?
In my experience, that's never happened.
But now we're under a new commission.
I understand that, and I don't know that I can point to a statute or a case where they've done that to a license holder. I can speak on my experience, and in my experience, that application has always come back to the city council for review before a determination has been made by the commission.
So Mr. Houghton also has brought up that, and I don't know the case law on this, this isn't the area of law I regularly practice, the constitutional right for the renewal. Is there some case law on that what we're doing today with maybe only having the 2 tavern reports where there's no evidence that the owner had any involvement in any way, with the evidence you've produced us today? I mean, unlike any other liquor license that we've had before us, there has always been a plethora of evidence presented in regards to the owner themselves. In this case, all you've presented to us from the city side is the 2 reports that have to do with shootings. And as seriously as they may be, they were shootings potentially on the property, but that the owner had no involvement in other than owning the property. Is this a case where we would be potentially, there's an argument that we're violating his constitutional right to renewal?
Ryan Wiesen, Deputy City Attorney. Again, I'm not necessarily aware of any case law that states that. My understanding of the case law is that this hearing before the City Council is determined whether or not there is enough evidence to conduct an investigation or review the application in the first place. Case law can always change, arguments can always be made, but again, in my experience and practice, this would trigger a new application, which would then come back for the City Council's review, where a full-blown hearing would be held. But again, I'm not aware of any circumstance, and if Mr. Houghton is aware of a specific
Yeah, well, I was just going to call him out. If I ask one lawyer an opinion, I'm going to give the other lawyer the opportunity to
I'm not aware
present.
of any specific case or license holder where a local governing body has asked for a long form and that license has been canceled or revoked before the local governing body then got an opportunity to consider the new application. I'm not aware of that happening.
Okay. Mr. Houghton?
Ryan has more experience in this area than I do, so I would defer to him, but I think it's probably discretionary among the city. Like, I know there's been instances in the past few months where I have a client that may want the removal of a condition. The prior construct that that the city had come up with is we would meet with the law committee or a subcommittee or the city council prior to that, and then that no longer happens. It goes straight to the Liquor Commission. My guess is whether or not we meet again about it is up to your discretion. To me, by virtue of requiring the long form, it's essentially a statutory construct to evade the normal renewal process. And you can ask if A means B, but the only possible inference the Liquor Commission can make by long-forming a renewal applicant is that the city thinks that there needs to be a heightened level of scrutiny for that applicant as if they're a new licensee.
Well, and it's been my experience because we've done these long forms multiple times before in my time. And every single one has come back to the council.
Yeah, I think it's probably up to your own
Yeah, every
discretion.
single one has come back to the council to have basically the long form hearing, which you'd think we're having right now, but we're not. And I think that may be what Councilwoman Goodwin is looking for. It's maybe the community scrutiny, having the opportunity to have all the evidence presented to everyone. And maybe it's even getting that conversation started, even in Pastor, Bishop Chambers said maybe more of they support the reapplication. And also Pastor Chapman said it's a constructive step. Neither one necessarily said, though, they want the license to be revoked. They were supporting the long form, which, in my opinion, I think that's kind of what I was looking for. Is it's more of we want some accountability for the liquor license holder because of the amount of crime and things that are happening on and around his property. But it may not be that in the end, removing his license is the proper thing to do. And because I'm not there at all. But I think I respect Councilwoman Goodwin's basically wanting to have the conversation and wanting to have that involvement, the community involvement, and to show that she's actually doing something and holding somebody accountable. We may disagree on who should be held accountable, but I think that decision, I'm going to give Councilwoman Goodwin some leeway to do what she thinks is best for community. If I thought, though, in any way that we just send a request for a long form down to the Liquor Commission and they just rubber stamp denial, I would vote the opposite way. And I don't know if there's any way that we can, other than a phone call, I would ask that if this is voted for the long form, I'd ask Mr. Wiesen to call the attorney down at the Liquor Commission and make sure that doesn't happen, that is not the signal, and that is not what at least I'm voting on today. We want an actual long form application, and we want it to come back to the council.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate everybody's time and your patience with what we had to say today. I will leave the council with this. If this truly is a situation where this is a stop, let's wait and see what can we do in the community to make things better, my client is all on board, as am I. We're willing to work with whatever council person or representative from the city to make sure and ensure that happens to the best of our ability. And we're all in for any creative solutions that you folks have. I just would like to reiterate, at risk of beating a dead horse, these were tavern reports, which maybe are not even appropriate for Class D licensees in the first place, that were created because his building got shot. And what we're dealing with now is he's at risk of losing a license.
But I'm going to correct you on that. People got shot. People got shot. I just don't. We can't.
Absolutely.
We can't just talk about the building.
And so, what I don't want to come across today is that Mr. Ali is not indifferent to that, right? Like there's like everybody that's in that neighborhood, they don't want anyone to be hurt. They don't want any violence. It doesn't help his business to have violence around the business. There is literally no reason that he would advocate for violence, and he does everything within his power, I think, to curb it. It just seems like a harsh result for the neighborhood and for Mr. Ali to put him through this added layer of scrutiny, in my view. But I appreciate everyone's time, and again, happy to work with any of the council members that would like to work with us on it.
And like I said, I don't disagree with anything you said.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Harding, you're recognized.
Dave, if you would, come back out, sorry. When Councilmember Melton was speaking a little earlier and talking about if this were the time where we were considering the application, I think I know where I would be in voting for it. I'd support it. So then I come to the consideration in my mind of, well, is the violence that's being created a result of this operator or his actions? And I can't get to that point where it's because of him that these actions have been created. And again, with the two tavern reports that have been submitted, again, those were not at the causation of the operator or his operations. I think it just happened to be in the proximity of. And I appreciate Ms. Goodwin and what she's trying to do. I just wonder if this operator, again, if he's not responsible for those and he's taken proactive measures for the safety of his employees and the people who frequent his store, I'm having a hard time getting to the point to say I think it should be the long form. I think of the times that we've done the long form since I've been on the council, they were more serious in nature than I think have happened because of what this operator has done. Not to say that some of the activity in the neighborhood isn't as serious, which it is, but it's not. I can't get to the point where it's the operator or the operations that have been the cause of that. I wonder too, as we were sitting here talking, if there's some consideration or some trepidation of whether or not we're running at risk of taking this license away. If there would be one, I'm going to ask the clerk, is there time one? And if there is, if there would be any appetite for a substitute motion to lay it over for a week so that we can check with the Liquor Commission to see if, in fact, what their process would be. Because again, if we're putting the liquor license holder's application or that liquor license in jeopardy for a straight denial before it could come back to this council, I would have serious consideration or serious concerns about that action. So I'll ask the clerk first. Is there time that this could be laid over for that action?
So this one is not on a time restriction.
Okay.
Yep, so you would have time to lay it over.
Okay. And I know there's a motion and a second on the floor, but again, I guess I would ask the Ms. Goodwin if she would consider laying it over for, we don't meet next week. I guess it would be the week after that, to check with the Liquor Commission to make sure that that is the process, because I think we're getting, I wouldn't say two opinions. I think we're getting, we have two attorneys who can't give a definitive answer.
Yeah, my feel is I suspect, as Ryan said, if you want the hearing, you would get the hearing, but I don't know that it's necessarily automatic. I would think it would have to be on the council's prerogative, but I would defer to the city's attorney's office for that.
I guess that was a question then. Ryan?
Ryan Weeson, Deputy City Attorney. I've never been in a position where the City Council has had to request as part of the long form process that the application be returned to the City Council for consideration. In the one instance that Mr. Houghton kind of gave as an example, the process of removing a restriction or condition from a license, the process that goes through is it's a state license, and any conditions that are placed on or imposed upon the license are state conditions. So when an operator wishes to lift those conditions, the City Council can't unilaterally do that. So the process that occurs is the State Liquor Control Commission sets a show cause hearing in Lincoln for the applicant to show cause why the condition should be lifted. And that's that process, and that's entirely different from here. Again, I'm not aware of any circumstance or situation where the commission would just unilaterally cancel or deny or revoke a license without cause. That I would think would violate the due process requirements of our Constitution and statutes, and would provide a right of appeal under the Administrative Procedures Act. So again, I'm not aware of any mechanism that would permit the commission to just straight out cancel the license just because the city council has requested a long form application to consider as part of the renewal process.
Okay, so, and since I guess I asked you for a question, I'll ask you another question. In your estimation, having 2 tavern reports, and I forgot the dates of them, but in the last 12 months, I think it was, those tavern reports were in the last 2 months, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would it be typical that we would require a long form in that situation?
I think that is up to the discretion of the city council. That's your job as politicians to weigh whether or not there's enough here to request that or not. My job is...
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but I would say again, the nature of these tavern reports is violent and as they were. Again, I don't see that they were the causation or because of the operator's actions. And that's what I'm having. That's where I'm having the struggle. Is that I don't know that we would normally even be in this situation, other than there are extenuating circumstances of the amount of violence in the area that there should be other measures that we could take to help deter that. But I don't know that having the long form requirement for a liquor license is the proper vehicle. That's a question.
And again, that's a question for you as council members to determine. It's my job to represent whatever the council interest is that you vote on and make that argument at the commission if I need to do so. And certainly if the council votes to approve this resolution, we would present evidence for the council to consider about the license holder's conduct and incidents that have occurred.
Wait, say that again.
So if the council were to vote for approve the long form resolution and require a new application, the process that's set forth is we would assist in providing evidence to the council that would relate to
I wanted to make
these
sure I
incidents.
heard you. When you said you would provide evidence, I thought you were saying to the Liquor Commission, where earlier you said you wouldn't, that's not your role at this point.
Correct. Again, I've never been called down to the Liquor Control Commission to argue in support of a long form request. That has always been approved as a matter of course, and then a new application has been submitted and returned to the City Council for its normal consideration.
Okay, thank you. 2 weeks ago?
That was 2 weeks ago. Thank you. Councilmember Goodwin, you're recognized.
Yeah, so I thought this council had a process that started with the law committee, in which we were not only provided the tavern reports, but also additional information from the police department of 58 incidents in 12 months, at least 30 of which 9 assaults, 3 shots fired, 17 disturbances. And we got that information and then took a vote to approach this process. We have an attachment to this agenda item that simply states this, and I appreciate Mr. Houghton's tactic here, and I think it's to delay and stall, because we have a process that's been in place that's now being called into question. A standard process that this is not the first time a liquor license holder has been asked to take. And the attached resolution, as I read, is requested by the City Council Law Committee. The resolution requests the Liquor Control Commission to require TNA, DBA TNA Grocery at 3247 North 42nd Street in Omaha, Nebraska, to submit a long-form application pursuant to Nebraska REV statute 53135. State statutes permit the city council to request that a liquor licensee submit a formal application and undergo a public hearing, which I feel like today, 2.5 hours later, we have had what should have been later a public hearing, okay? But this is the process that's being requested by our legal counsel, okay? To renew a license or to establish that the licensee continues to operate under the license in the same manner and under the same conditions that existed when the license was first applied for. The city council may make the request when a written protest is filed or upon the council's own motion. This request would be upon the city council's own motion. Once a local governing body requests in writing the Liquor Control Commission that a licensee file a formal license application, state law allows a licensee to renew its license only if the requirements that existed when the license was issued continue to be met. Renewal can be denied, but not will be denied if there is a change of the circumstances affecting the qualifications for the license. For example, renewal can be denied if the licensee's conduct shows it does not exercise the type of management and control over the premise sufficient to ensure that the business will conform to the statutes, rules, and regulations governing liquor licenses. Liquor Control Commission regulations and the statutes provide, 1, a licensee may now not knowingly allow assaults or unreasonable disturbances on the licensed premises or adjacent related outdoor areas. And I also want to say that this actually speaks to some of the things called in question today, whether or not there is a certain responsibility that a liquor licensee has, okay? A licensee may not sell beer or alcoholic liquors to minors, and a licensee must demonstrate that the type of management and control that is to be exercised, management and control, responsibility and accountability and stewardship, that is to be, and I did add that is to be exercised over the premises will be sufficient to ensure that the licensed business can conform to all provisions and requirements of the rules and regulations of the Nebraska Liquor License Control Act and the Nebraska Liquor Control Commission. Additionally, and this goes on, but it is written in our attachments, and so I'd like to motion again to approve this resolution. I think you have the attachment, Mr. Housen, where you can read the proper process that we're asking for today. It is simply a long form. It is simply a review. And you have said that you're willing to cooperate. And I am asking you for this to be your first step in cooperating so that we can move forward if we're truly going to solve this problem. Let us take this step today with the vote of the council, if I have it, which would then bring forth a public hearing, and we can then do our due diligence to ensure that we're taking all steps to not only just to ensure that a business stays in place, but that the surrounding community is safe, and that this law committee and this council has done its due diligence to ensure that. I'd like to take that motion to, I know, I just want to reiterate it at this point. We're 3 hours in, 2 hours.
Thank you. Councilmember Fesserson, you're recognized.
Thanks, Mr. President. I would just offer that in 16 years of doing this, over 16 years of doing this, every single long-form request we've ever sent to the State Liquor Commission has always come back to the City Council. So I'm confident that would be the case for further discussion. And I don't see any further lights, so I'll go ahead and call the question.
We have a...
I did call the question, though.
So do we vote on call the question? Is there a second? I'll second it. So now we do a roll call.
Yeah, we'll do a roll call and call the question.
We had a motion and a second for call the question. Roll call.
Goodwin.
Yes.
Harding.
Yes.
Hug.
No.
Melton. Yes. Rowe. Festerson.
Yes.
Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed. So now it goes right into a vote.
So we had a motion and a second to pass resolution item number 13.
Goodwin.
This is to pass.
Yes.
Harding.
No.
Hug.
Yes.
Melton. No, that was to call the question. This is on the item now.
Item
Yep.
13.
Yep. Rowe. Festerson.
Yes.
Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 6-1. Item 14, an ordinance to rezone property located at 5073 Kansas Avenue from DR District to R5 District. Planning Board and Planning Department recommend approval.
Public hearing is now open on item number 14. Is the applicant here today? Are there any proponents on item 14? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding.
Yes.
Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Items 15 through 17 can be considered together for property located at 72nd and Dodge Streets. Planning Board and Planning Department recommend approval. Items 15 and 16, ordinances to rezone this property from GC District and TOD 1 MX District mixed use to TOD 1 MX District mixed use and CC District. Item 17, an ordinance to rescind the ACI overlay district for this property.
Public hearing for items 15 through 17 is now open. Is the applicant here today? Are there any proponents for items 15 through 17? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed. Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding.
Yes.
Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Item 18, a resolution to approve a special use permit to allow automotive sales in the CC District located at 9606 F Street. Planning Board and Planning Department recommend approval.
Public hearing is now open on item number 18. Is the applicant here today? Are there any proponents on item 18? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Well, I'm sorry, were you a proponent? Okay. Are there any opponents on item 18? Public hearing is closed. Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding.
Yes.
Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Consent agenda. Any member of the City Council may cause any item placed on the consent agenda to be removed. Items removed from the consent agenda shall be taken up by the City Council immediately following the consent agenda in the order in which they were removed unless otherwise provided by the City Council Rules of Order.
So this, clarify for me, Madam Clerk, this is 19 through 29?
Yes, I think there was a request to remove item 23.
30.
The applicant would like to withdraw that item, which needs formal council action. And then we do have amendments of the whole for items 30 through 37.
So the first one, just to clarify, we have to vote on item number 23?
Correct.
Okay. That's to remove it?
Yep.
Thank you. We got a motion and a second to remove item number 23. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding.
Yes.
Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
So get me back on track. We're on 19 through 22?
Yeah, if we could approve the remaining items. Again, we need to remove items 30 through 37, yeah.
20.
But
Move to approve 19 through 22 and 24 through 29.
Got a motion and a second for 19 through 22 and 24 through 29. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding.
Yes.
Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. And now we can move into those items removed. Item 30 is an ordinance levying a special tax and assessment on real estate property within Benson Business Improvement District. A is amendment of the whole requested by the Parks Department.
Public hearing is now open on item number 30.
No public hearing. It's just go to a vote. We had it
Okay,
last
straight
week.
to a vote?
Yep.
Okay, we got a motion and a second for item 30. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding.
Yes.
Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Item 31 is an ordinance levying a special tax and assessment on real estate property within the Blackstone Business Improvement District. A's amendment of the whole requested by the Parks Department.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding. Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Item 32, an ordinance levying a special tax and assessment on real estate within the Dundee Business Improvement District. A's amendment of the whole requested by the Parks Department.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding. Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Item 33, an ordinance levying a special tax and assessment on real estate within the Elkhorn Business Improvement District. A's amendment of the whole requested by the Parks Department.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding. Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Item 34, an ordinance levying a special tax and assessment on real estate within the Little Bohemia Business Improvement District. A's amendment of the whole requested by the Parks Department.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding. Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Item 35, an ordinance levying a special tax and assessment on real estate within the North 24th Street Business Improvement District. A's amendment of the whole requested by the Parks Department.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding. Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 6-0. Goodwin abstained. Item 36, an ordinance levying a special tax and assessment on real estate within the North Saddle Creek Business Improvement District. A's amendment of the whole requested by the Parks Department.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding. Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Item 37, an ordinance levying a special tax and assessment on real estate within the South Omaha Business Improvement District. A's amendment of the whole requested by the Parks Department.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding. Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
The public hearings on agenda items 38 through 48 are today. If you wish to address the City Council regarding these items, please come to the microphone, indicate the agenda item number you wish to address, identify yourself by your name, address, who you represent, if you're a proponent or opponent. Public hearing is now open. Are there any proponents?
Good afternoon, Deb Sander, Human Resources Director, here to be a proponent for item number 48. This is an agreement with the Patero Group to conduct a search for our Parks and Recreation Director. The Patero Group performs 30 to 40 executive searches each year for both nonprofits and for governments. They are a boutique firm with a national focus on parks and public lands. They have a number of clients: the National Parks Foundation, the National Park Service, Parks California. They provide a customized process tailored to the client's specific needs, and they also have experience aligning the public-private relationships that support parks organizations such as we have here in Omaha. They are a member of the IIC Partners and Association of the Executive Search Consultants, so they have a larger network, even though they are a boutique firm specializing in parks and recreation. I'm here to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Council member, let's see. Sorry, are there any other proponents here for items 38 through 48? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed. Councilmember Hug, you're recognized.
Good afternoon. This is common practice on specialized positions to hire or retain outside services to perform a search.
Yes, sir. We've done this for the previous Parks Director search. We've done it for Convention and Visitors Bureau, also for the Streetcar Operations Manager, and for the Human Rights and Relations Director. So we've done this several times for specialized positions.
All right, thank you.
Quick question, Ms. Sander. For the city to enter into this agreement, the HR department that you've led for several years, How far, when did that change that the city would get consultants for searches like for director jobs or the ones you mentioned?
It actually predates me for our Convention and Visitors Bureau. Back in the day when we hired Mr. Keith Baxon, that was a search conducted by Searchwide Global. And then we've also used those under the previous administration for, like I said, very specialized positions.
I don't want to put you on the spot when you said it predates you. How far back are we talking?
Not predates me as director, but not with the city. So that would have been, hang on here. I think I have it.
Going back to your time. 20 years? Is it 15 or 20 years? I don't mean to, if you don't know, that's okay, but is it a couple decades, do you think?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yes.
It's nothing new. In other words, what we're doing here today, you mentioned a couple jobs that we did that on, but is it fair to say that this has gone on for maybe 20 years, 15, 20 years?
Probably at least 20 from what I understand.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. We have no further lights. Got a motion and a second. Thank you. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding. Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Item 49, an ordinance to correct ordinance number 44465, establishing a Class B flammable combustible liquid storage district number B-230 located at 5050 F Street.
Public hearing is now open on item number 49. Are there any proponents here today? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
I believe there's a wish of council to postpone the public hearing for items 64 and 65, second reading and public hearing to March 3rd, and then third reading to March 10th.
Got a motion and a second for items 64 and 65 for March 3rd and March 10th, correct?
Correct.
No further lights. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding.
Yes.
Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Non-action items, items 50 through 67, do not require public hearing or city council consideration at this meeting, but will be placed on a future agenda for public hearing and or vote. The reason for non-action is noted after the item on the agenda, as well as the date the item is expected to appear on an agenda for consideration.
We got a motion and a second, and one last comment. My phone went off again, so I'm going to put myself in timeout, and I want to make a donation of $50 to Youth Emergency Services tonight for that, because I want to mind what I say, and I was looking at the time, and whatever Google does, then that's what happens. So $50 coming to Youth Emergency Services for my snafu on my phone. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Roll call.
Goodwin. Harding. Hug. Melton. Rowe. Festerson. Mr. President.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0. Meeting is adjourned at 4:07.